In Cove Neck, New York, salvage workers begin to dismantle the shattered remains of Avianca Flight 52. But there's still one critical question. Who is responsible for Flight 52 running out of fuel and causing the deaths of 72 passengers and crew? At the National Transportation and Safety Board in Washington, D.C., investigators are eager to recover data locked inside the two black boxes. They begin with the flight data recorder, which records information such as the plane's altitude, speed, and heading, but it proves useless.
We opened it and found that the foil wrap was not hooked up, so someone had actually intentionally taped the end of the foil so it wouldn't fly around and put it back in the airplane.
Without the flight data recorder, investigators rely heavily on Flight 52's cockpit voice recorder. It's found with more than 40 minutes of recordings of the crew and between the first officer and air traffic controllers.
And it was apparent from the voice recorder transcript and tape that the captain was not understanding the first officer's radio communications that were being made in English.
Everybody wants to blame the pilot, but he may be the last person to make a decision, and the scenario which caused him to be in that position where he makes the decision was created by several other people along the route.
The captain asked the first officer about 9 times, clarify information or repeat it, or to pass on information.
We are going to attempt again.
Advise him we are in an emergency. Do you tell him?
Did he make a conscious decision to run out of fuel? No. He was sucked into a situation by the air traffic controllers where he ran out of fuel.
Once the airplane got into the JFK area, there was certainly a serious breakdown in communications on the part of the pilots within the cockpit, on the part of the pilots talking to controllers, and controllers talking to the pilots, and the controllers amongst themselves, because there were handoffs and some of the urgency was not passed on within the controllers system. So we had multiple breakdowns in multiple areas here that ultimately led to this accident.
Slope! Sink rate?
The cockpit voice recorder reveals a crew desperate to land the 707 in near zero visibility and extreme wind shear without the aid of an autopilot.
This is the wind shear.
The crew of Flight 52 is caught off guard. As they descend below 500 feet and slow down, a violent vertical wind forces them toward the ground.
The runway, where is it? I don't see it. I don't see it.
Nearly causing the plane to crash 2 miles short of the runway. With little fuel left, there is no fire or explosion on impact, saving many from almost certain death. As the hearings into the crash begin, controllers maintain that the Avianca crew failed to use the word emergency, instead using the word priority to communicate their situation.
The government took the position that the pilot never declared an emergency, so no one knew that he had a problem. But saying you're getting low on fuel and saying you cannot make your alternate, the word emergency is not necessary to say.
Negative, sir. We are running out of fuel. We just lost 2 engines and we need priority, please.
And they thought they were telling them when they said we need priority.
The NTSB concludes that air traffic's handling of Avianca 52 was proper. Avianca sues the FAA, which employs the air traffic controllers, saying they should have done more when Flight 52 told them they were running out of fuel. The FAA settles and pays around 40% of the estimated $200 million compensation due to the victims.